The angel of death in the Passover story serves as a pivotal figure, representing the profound and multifaceted nature of divine judgment and mercy within the biblical narrative of the Israelites' exodus from Egypt, encapsulating themes of justice, liberation, faith, and covenant. As recorded in the book of Exodus, after enduring 9 devastating plagues sent by God to persuade Pharaoh to release the Israelites from brutal slavery, Pharaoh's heart remained hardened, prompting God to unleash the 10th and most severe plague, the death of every firstborn in Egypt. This plague was executed by the angel of death, a divine emissary tasked with carrying out God's judgment by striking down the firstborn sons of Egypt, extending from Pharaoh's own heir to the children of servants and even to the firstborn of animals. However, in his infinite mercy, God provided a means for the Israelites to be spared from this calamity, commanding them to perform a sacred ritual that would later become the foundation of the Passover tradition. Each family was instructed to select a flawless, unblemished lamb, slaughter it at twilight, and smear its blood on the doorposts and lintels of their homes. This act of faith and obedience served as a divine sign, signaling the angel of death to pass over these marked houses, leaving the firstborn within untouched. The sparing of the Israelite households not only symbolized God's protection, but also marked the beginning of their physical and spiritual liberation from centuries of oppression. The ritual of the Passover lamb and the marking of doorways with its blood introduced deeply symbolic and theological themes that would resonate throughout Jewish history and later influence Christian theology, especially the concept of substitutionary atonement, the idea that the sacrifice of an innocent being can redeem others. The terror that must have gripped the Egyptian households that fateful night is almost unimaginable. Cries of anguish echoed through the streets as families awoke to the loss of their children, their grief compounded by the suddenness and severity of the plague. Pharaoh, once so proud and unyielding, was finally broken by the magnitude of the devastation. His empire, built on the backs of enslaved people, crumbled under the weight of divine justice. In contrast, the Israelites, huddled in their homes marked by lamb's blood, likely listened with a mixture of fear and awe, knowing that their obedience had spared them. This stark contrast between those who suffered and those who were saved underscored the power of faith and the consequences of defiance against divine will. The angel of death moved silently, yet decisively, embodying the inescapable hand of God's judgment. This moment was not only a physical deliverance, but also a profound spiritual reckoning for all involved. The Israelites were not merely escaping slavery, they were being transformed into a people chosen for a greater purpose, bound by laws and traditions that would define them for generations. The psychological impact of this event cannot be understated. The Israelites had to confront the reality that their freedom came at the cost of widespread death and suffering, a sobering reminder of the gravity of divine intervention. The angel of death was not an indiscriminate force, but a deliberate executor of divine justice, responding directly to Pharaoh's hardened heart and the systemic oppression of the Israelites. This event also served as a powerful reminder that divine justice is neither arbitrary nor cruel, but purposeful and exact. For Pharaoh, this was a final, irrevocable lesson in humility. For the Israelites, it was a call to remember and honor the power that had delivered them. The annual observance of Passover became more than a ritual. It became a narrative of survival, responsibility, and remembrance. Each generation would retell the story, embedding its lessons into their collective identity. The angel of death thus stands as a solemn figure in this narrative, bridging the gap between divine wrath and divine mercy, destruction and deliverance. In the centuries that followed, the story of the angel of death passing over the blood-marked homes became a central narrative of hope and faith. It symbolized that oppression would not last forever, and that deliverance, though sometimes harrowing, was always possible through divine will. This message transcended generations, offering comfort to those facing persecution and reminding them of God's enduring promise. The duality of the angel of death, bringing devastation to some and mercy to others, continues to provoke reflection on the complexities of justice. It challenges believers to consider the weight of disobedience and the rewards of unwavering faith. The story's power lies in this balance, making the angel of death an enduring symbol of both fear and hope. A reminder that while God's justice can be severe, His mercy is always present for those who follow His path. The meticulous details of the Passover ritual further amplify the story's significance. The Israelites were commanded not only to sacrifice the lamb and mark their doors, but also to roast the lamb whole, eat it in haste with unleavened bread and bitter herbs, and be fully dressed and ready to depart at a moment's notice. These instructions symbolize their readiness for liberation and their complete trust in God's plan. The unleavened bread, lacking the time to rise, represented the urgency of their escape, while the bitter herbs recalled the bitterness of their slavery. Every aspect of the ritual was a physical embodiment of their transition from bondage to freedom. This holistic engagement of mind, body, and spirit solidified their collective memory and reinforced the connection between divine command and deliverance. Moreover, the story of the angel of death is not merely confined to the past, but serves as a perpetual lesson in human history. It stands as a warning to oppressive powers and a beacon of hope for the oppressed. Societies throughout history have drawn parallels between their own struggles and the plight of the Israelites, seeing in the Passover story a reflection of their hopes for liberation. The narrative has thus transcended its historical context, speaking to universal themes of justice, suffering, redemption, and the cost of freedom. The angel of death becomes a symbol not only of divine intervention, but of the moral consequences of human actions, highlighting that oppression and injustice inevitably lead to downfall. In Christian theology, the symbolism of the Passover lamb prefigures the sacrificial death of Jesus Christ, often referred to as the Lamb of God. Just as the blood of the lamb spared the Israelites from death, so too does the blood of Christ offer redemption and salvation. This theological connection deepens the significance of the Passover narrative, showing how the themes of sacrifice, deliverance, and divine justice resonate across different faith traditions. The angel of death, within this expanded framework, becomes not only a figure of judgment, but a catalyst for humanity's broader story of redemption and spiritual awakening. The Israelites' journey did not end with their physical liberation, but continued as they navigated the harsh realities of freedom and responsibility. The memory of the angel of death's passage served as a constant reminder of the stakes involved in obeying or defying divine will. It emphasized that freedom is not merely the absence of oppression, but the presence of divine purpose and moral accountability. The covenant forged at Mount Sinai, where the Israelites received the Ten Commandments, was built upon the foundation laid during the Passover night. Their deliverance came with expectations to uphold justice, practice mercy, and live in obedience to God's laws. Ultimately, the angel of death in the Passover story embodies the profound intersection of justice and mercy, fear and hope, destruction and salvation. This figure serves as a powerful reminder that divine action, while sometimes incomprehensible, operates with ultimate purpose. It is through this lens that the narrative continues to inspire reflection on the complexities of human existence, the consequences of oppression, and the enduring promise of deliverance for those who remain steadfast in faith. The angel of death, as both destroyer and deliverer, stands as a timeless symbol of the transformative power of divine will, forever shaping the collective consciousness of all who hear the story.